All week long, we've been talking about the risks and the benefits of cryptocurrency. A common question raised, is crypto a threat to the environment? And really, it just depends on who you ask. Tonight, we're tackling the controversy surrounding Bitcoin mining and how much energy it consumes. And if all this sounds like a language that you don't speak, don't worry. Becca Habegger, the crypto queen, as I've been calling her, she has dug into the nitty gritty of Bitcoin mining and why there are environmental concerns.
Does cryptocurrency require a lot of energy?
Yes, there is a carbon footprint associated with the mining and the storage of that digital record.
A lot of times when we talk about Bitcoin, a lot of people bring up the energy argument. Bitcoin is created through a process called mining. A Bitcoin miner is a super powerful computer that is doing super complex puzzles, and the reward for doing those puzzles is a Bitcoin. So that's how the mining process works. Very simply. That process is very energy intensive. And so these individual Bitcoin miners do take up a lot of power.
I would say there's also a carbon footprint towards storing money in your bank ledger. So I don't know that it's substantially more. There is potentially more carbon footprint associated with cryptocurrency.
What's interesting about Bitcoin mining is that it is actually the kind of industry that is encouraging the use of renewables. It's an incredible opportunity for us to explore real incentive-based renewable energy work.
I think we will see in the future more miners being established in places with high degrees of renewable energy, particularly places where you got lots of hydropower, or data centers tend to be cheaper in cold climates. You don't have to do air conditioning, you just open the walls. And so we'll probably see more specialization of servers in those types of places if Bitcoin were to become very popular.
If you're going to invest in Bitcoin, you absolutely do not have to be a miner, right? You can purchase Bitcoin and save it and hold it for yourself long term and leave the mining to people that actually want to engage in that.
Okay, so we heard some good things about how Bitcoin miners can, for example, incentivize renewable energy. So here to talk with us a little bit more is Becca Habegger, crypto queen, you already know. And then we also have meteorologist Brendan Minchuk. Brendan, always good to see you here.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. I love to have a full staff here. All right. So Becca, first I want to ask you, paint us the picture of how energy is being used. How much is being used?
Yeah, well, Alex, believe it or not, there's something called the Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index, and they estimate that last year, Bitcoin mining worldwide consumed about as much energy as the entire state of Virginia did in 2020. And that's just Bitcoin mining. We're not talking about the mining of other cryptocurrencies. We're just focusing on Bitcoin today. Now, keenly aware of the energy consumption, or perhaps keenly aware of the public opinion of this kind of energy consumption, a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies are increasingly moving away from fossil fuels and to renewable energy to run their miners.
Yeah, and actually a company moved its mining this year from a coal-powered plant to a wind and solar farm out in Texas. If you didn't know, Brendan, he actually used to work in Texas.
I did.
So can we really look at this Texas as a case study?
I think we can, actually. I mean, there's differences, but I don't see a lot of differences between the California and the Texas energy grids. In fact, over this past summer, both California and Texas hit their all-time high energy demand, their grid demands. You might remember those flex alerts we had when we made to 116 degrees this last September. But in Texas, Bitcoin miners, they're using energy like renewables, so wind, solar, to power some of their Bitcoin mining. But opponents in Texas say it's not necessarily a good idea to go in and use energy that might be better used by trying to get to the grid, right? Maybe you should spend that money on just building the infrastructure to get that energy to the grid instead of getting it to mining facilities. But maybe it's a little different if a Bitcoin mining company were to come in and say, hey, well, instead of taking energy from an already existing renewable energy farm, such as wind or solar, we're going to build our own and then use the energy from that. Well, that's an investment in renewable energy. That's a better thing. But like I said earlier, ultimately, I don't think Texas and California are that far apart. Both states, they want to see responsible use of the energy grid. And, responsible may differ politically, but Texas has the mindset where let's build more power, get more power to people. California, I think, really wants to see just more responsible, more thoughtful use of the power that we have here in the state already. But, red, blue, purple, whatever, we don't want to worry about not being able to heat our houses or cool our houses or whatever it may be. So anytime we add more demand on the grid, whether it's Bitcoin mining facilities or electric cars, this is something we're hearing a lot about in California. There's concerns.
So it's not just about the mining, it's also about the structure of the grid. Can it handle all of this?
Can it handle all of it? I think that's something important. And anytime you add demand to a grid, it's questionable, especially with all the investments that we're trying to make, especially here in California, moving to renewable energy.
Yeah, and Alex, it's worth noting that Governor Newsom earlier this year signed an executive order paving the way to build a friendlier cryptocurrency business environment for, here in the Golden State. Between Governor Newsom's executive order and, of course, our abundance here in California of renewable energies, we will likely see more conversations in the near future about Bitcoin mining in California. So don't forget that phrase, Bitcoin mining.
You heard it from the Crypto Queen. All right. Thank you both for being here. I appreciate it.